This is a review of chapter 5 of the Bhagavad Gita. In the 4th chapter, Lord Krishna told Arjuna that all kinds of sacrificial work culminate in attaining knowledge. But at the end of the 4th chapter, the Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight, or to get up and fight. But now with a different approach, because now he can be situated in perfect knowledge. So by simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Krishna has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination. And now, one thing we learn from these situations in the Gita, when Arjuna is confused, is that he very sincerely places inquiries or questions to Krishna. So every disciple should do like this. Whenever there is a confusion, they should inquire from their guru or from senior devotees to clarify any doubts that they might have. So Arjuna is a very good example of that. Let us look at a few sections in this chapter. Section which covers verses 1 to 6 deals with Karma Yoga, that it speaks how Karma Yoga is equal to renouncing work, but is easier than renouncing work. So, Chapter 5 opens with Arjuna's question that is similar to the one that he was asking at the beginning of Chapter 3. What is better, work in devotion or renunciation of work? And Krishna replies that although the results of renunciation and devotional service are ultimately the same, devotional service is superior because it frees one from reactions to that one can, so that one can quickly and easily achieve Krishna. So it frees one from the reactions to their past activities, their karmic activities. When one is freed from his previous reactions, then actually the real devotional service begins. And it's not difficult to achieve Krishna and to achieve pure devotional service. Then verses 7 to 12 describe how to perform Karma Yoga. After describing the superiority of devotional service, Krishna now explains how to work with devotion and how to work with detachment, but also with devotion, or how to work devotionally with detachment. One who has knowledge of Krishna, he understands that he doesn't belong to material nature, that he is, we may say, he is incompatible with material nature. And thus, such a person acts only for his purification, offering the results of his work to Krishna. And in this way he remains unattached, performing work as a matter of duty. So now as you read this, you will see that you will understand this more and more. Maybe it's not so easy to understand immediately, but this takes time. Then the next section is verses 13 to 16. They describe relationship between the soul, super soul, and nature. The transcendentalist who works with detachment has knowledge of the relationship between the living entity, material nature, and the expansion of the Supreme Lord within the heart of every living entity, the super soul or Paramatma. Although it may appear that the modes of nature or the super soul are the cause of action and reaction, they are not responsible. When the living entity desires to enjoy material nature, the modes carry out the necessary actions after being sanctioned by the Supersoul. So, as you can see here, for our conditioning to manifest in the material world, we need the sanction or approval of the Supersoul, which is Krishna, Krishna's expansion in charge of guiding living entities. And Supersoul, as you know, is situated in the heart. And then the modes of material nature, the material energy in the form of the three modes, ignorance, passion and goodness, they facilitate the necessary environment and the actions of the conditioned soul who wants to enjoy the material world. But one thing that is stressed in this section is that we cannot give responsibility to the modes or to the Supersoul for our situation. It's our responsibility 100%. And the last section, verses 17 to 19, speak about liberation through focusing our consciousness on the Supersoul. So one who is enlightened with this knowledge of the relationship between the living entity, material nature, and the Supersoul, takes shelter of the Supersoul, he becomes enlightened and attains liberation. A Krishna conscious person enjoys unlimited pleasure within by fixing his consciousness on Krishna. He is always busy working for the welfare of all beings, and this also helps him to achieve liberation. Because when Krishna sees that the person has become selfless, this is a sign of higher consciousness, and Krishna is the one who is granting liberation. Now, yogis can also attain this state by practicing Ashtanga Yoga, which is much more difficult. Bhakti Yoga is much more easy. At the end of this chapter 5, Krishna introduces Dhyana Yoga or Meditational Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, and he will explain in the next chapter. In the 6th chapter, he will explain in more detail. And in the last verse, verse 19 of the chapter 5, there is a peace formula. There was leaflets in the 70s, 60s and 70s which devotees distributed called Peace Formula, and these leaflets are based on that verse and purport by Srila Prabhupada. So that verse says that Krishna himself is the supreme enjoyer, supreme controller, and the beneficiary in all human activities. Beneficiary means that he is the one who is supposed to enjoy all the activities of all living entities. So this is the summary of chapter 5.